At least they're competing the right way.
Yeah.
I like your
games.
compete level.
Yeah, compete level's high.
Good. What's their battle meter, though?
Not 100. Tell you that much.
Well, according to Cora.
No.
It might be.
I don't they have a losing record.
You heard the voice of Rob Bradford, weei.com, and the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast. He joins us every Thursday at 11:30. We'll get back to Celtics talk. We'll mix in some thoughts on the Patriots schedule as well. Keefe and I will go on the clock at high noon, give you 60 seconds on the Patriots, their record, the schedule, all that good stuff, plus Tatum, and an update to his injury timeline. Coming your way about 15 minutes from now. Rob Bradford, brought to you by McFarland Energy. McFarland to you, Rob. The heating, cooling, and bio-heat delivery pros that Eastern Mass and all of Cape Cod depend on. McFarlandEnergy.com. What do you think of that comment from Cora?
I was sorry. I couldn't get past Sad Jamai asking the question. I love Sad Jamai. It should be a Twitter account. Sad Jamai. Yeah, I know this is a tough one.
Sorry.
Compete level. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. What is it? 4-14 now in one run games. That's, by the way, one loss more the entirety of last year when it comes to one-run games.
Dang.
And this is the part that I did agree with Breslow in the morning hit this morning, is that when you have that, you have to look at the reason and the cause. Like, you can't just say, it's a long season. Yeah, okay. But you have to, when you have 14 of these suckers, and you had 13 of them last year in total.
Yeah, it's alarming.
It's something.
Sounds like Gerard Mayo. It's like, we play a lot of close games. It's like, yeah, you lose them all.
Yeah.
Maybe you figure that out.
Yeah, maybe don't put the spotlight on yourself so much. But I guess on some level it's a small sample size, but it is more than a quarter of the schedule. Like, that's a hard thing to just shrug away.
No, and also you need to win games. You have these teams on winning streaks who are figuring it out. And, yeah, they're still in it right now. But if you keep doing this, if you keep playing this middle-of-the-road stuff and you keep saying, I think it's going to work out, then next thing you know, all these other teams are going to take off. And I do think that as we sit here in mid-May, like trades, I've talked about this a million times. Trades in May almost never happen. That's why I love the Luis Ariz trade last year on May 4th. But, I mean, who doesn't, right? But
still talking about it.
I mean, like, or the Shea Hillenbrand,
That was the one I was thinking.
Yeah,
Killed me.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I was gutted.
It shook you to your core?
Yes, I love Shea
really?
Hillenbrand. Yes.
Young Kim?
Yep.
Oh, really?
I remember I was at work. I was working at a warehouse when it happened, and I immediately went. Yeah, I immediately called my mom. She was at work. I never called my mom at work. And I was like, Mom, they traded Shea Hillenbrand. She's like, what? Don't call me at work. Mom, what are you doing?
You know that Shea Hillenbrand
How'd you get this number?
That Shea Hillenbrand poster on my wall?
Yeah.
You're going to have to take it down.
When did he switch from Byung-Hyun Kim to BK Kim? When did he do that?
Before.
That was a mistake.
I think, that was a mistake.
Was it?
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of mistakes.
He tried to go into hiding after that World Series, maybe?
Yeah. He gave the finger to somebody. I don't know. He slept a lot, too. Anyway, the point is that I do feel like this team is in need of some jumper cables, right? This team, you need to sort of, okay, this is what you have. This is what you're dealing with. This is what has happened. But I do feel like you have the ability to have a jolt to this team. Now, where do they need that jolt? They need it with another arm late in the game in the bullpen. Absolutely. And you also need it, I think, in the form of either one of these, at least one of these guys in the minor leagues, one way or the other. And this leads us to, well, how do you do that? Do you make a huge trade? That's a tough one. It's a tough one. Like, if you're going to get Anthony up here, the logical thing, which I wouldn't be averse to, is to say, we're selling high on Rafaela. We're going to trade him for, let's say, that the aforementioned bullpen arm. That's fine. Probably not going to happen. But the other avenue is the first base thing. Okay, we can get into Devers. That's fine. But the more realistic thing here is to take a guy in Christian Campbell, who is right now statistically one of the worst second basemen in the game, start putting a first baseman glove on him, see how that works, put Marcelo Meyer at second base, and there you go. I mean, this isn't like an extreme, oh my goodness, I can't believe we're doing this. There's a lot of sense to just trying it out. And even just put a first base glove on him once in a while. That's all I'm asking. Or somebody else. Like I said to you guys,
I almost drove off the road yesterday listening to Cora talk to the afternoon guys when they were asking him about first base. Ted specifically asked him about first base several times.
Well, yeah, but by over under 4.5 times.
He asked him a lot of times, but it's a pressing issue, so I don't blame him for it. But the amount of times Cora responded with Romy Gonzalez, I was like, that ain't it.
But I think
he's like, well, he's coming back. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I think that falls under, it is what it is, and he's going to have to say what he has to say, right?
Yeah.
But when we come back from this off day, I do not understand why you wouldn't just say, okay, we have to, here's a first baseman glove, and I'm going to focus on Campbell. Like initially,
yeah, that's fine. That's what I want.
Initially, I was like Meyer, right? I'm like, do it with Meyer down in Worcester, but I do think that we've reached the point with Campbell where you're saying, yeah, he's a little rough around the edges at second base. Mm-hmm. I think he could play first base. You work him out there. My point though is that you have to start this process. Like Craig Breslow comes on the radio and said, we're exploring all avenues. Well, this is the best avenue to explore, because unless you're willing to make that trade that nobody makes in May, you're going to be picking up the Garrett Coopers and the Dom Smiths all over again.
Why try Meyer at first when he hasn't done it? Why try Campbell at first when he hasn't done it? And why not try Devers there? Like, why wouldn't they? If it's the logic of moving those guys around and playing them somewhere else, why not do that? With
I think
Devers?
there is absolutely that. Like, I don't understand why in spring training, like, you didn't throw a first baseman glove on him. I've said this a million times. I don't know why, when he's fielding balls at third base, we saw him do it before plenty of games, whether it was at Fenway, whether it was in Texas. Why you don't do it then? And we now kind of know, right? He marked his territory. They said, you're only going to be a DH. They're walking on eggshells around him. But I think that if you look at it now about the best solution, like, yes, the Devers thing, could he function? Is that his future? I don't know, maybe. But I think the best solution for the athleticism that it does take some athleticism, right? This is why Roman Anthony playing first is stupid. The guy has never fielded a ground ball. So if you take this guy and Christian Campbell, who is athletic, who can field some ground balls, put him at first, to me, that's probably the best way to do it.
More likely for Rafael Devers, he plays first base or gets traded?
Ooh, can I say neither?
I mean,
no,
I think
more likely.
That's why I asked the question that way, Rob, because the most likely thing is he's just the DH. But this doesn't even need to be for like this weekend or next month. I just mean like the next thing that happens to Devers, would it be more likely that he gets dealt away or that he actually plays first base?
Yeah, I would say get dealt away. Yeah, I think.
Wow.
Okay.
It's more likely he gets traded than picks up a glove and gets off his ass and goes to first base.
But
that's ridiculous.
No. But it's two different things, right? So this Devers thing is, let's make this very clear. It's solving the first base problem and what Rafael Devers did in his approach, right? So if you're asking me the best, I already laid out the best case scenario for me, like what they should do.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
And I feel like they probably think along the same lines. So is will Rafael Devers, if you ask the question, will he be willing to play first base or before he gets traded? Probably. Like that's you asked the question, do I think he's going to play first base or am I going to get traded? I said neither.
Well, no, he's not playing first base, right? Because that's the thing is like this big meeting. John Henry goes out there. They're like, oh, it was a great meeting. What was the phrase that he said? There was an honest discussion or whatever it was.
Yeah, an exchange of ideas
good
or whatever.
Good honest exchange. You're like, okay, there was a lot of screaming. Is what that sounds like. And then they're like, all right, now the owner flies back away. He's going to pay him $300 million just to DH, apparently. That seems to be the resolution.
Let's not get this twisted, because my biggest thing with Devers in that respect is like how, and I said this, I wrote this, how does a baseball player not say, I'm going to help the team and go to that position? That I can't get past. I just can't. And I think most baseball players feel the same way.
Okay, including his teammates?
I don't know about his teammates. Okay. I can honestly say I don't know. I wasn't on this trip. They left. I've heard conflicting things. Okay. So I'm not going to say, I've heard plenty of support from his teammates, certainly.
But I've also heard, I've read those reports that said guys were in the locker room rolling their eyes. Guys were saying, stop talking.
Yeah, and all I know is that if I'm in that clubhouse, and we had Mike Lowell on the podcast, and listen, he went through this, right? Mm-hmm. And he basically said, like, if I'm in that position, you have to have a conversation. It's interesting with Lowell because Lowell and Cora were the guys who were massaging the Manny Ramirez situation in 2008, right? So they went through that. They understood that of this nonsensical way of looking at things. And I'll come back to the Devers thing. It's common sense. Your teammate goes down. You say, I'll do whatever is best for the team. But you guys know this. Is that a lot of times the whole respect thing it trumps all the common sense. It does. Like, it's crazy to me. I saw it with Pedro. I saw it with Ortiz. I saw it with a bunch of really good guys, really good teammates, really good players. But sometimes, and in this case, that's the case, I think.
Yeah, Cora's given him a little too much respect. The GM has had to talk to Devers. The owner has had to fly cross country. So I would give a little more disrespect to Devers and have the manager talk to him personally. But that's me. Rob Bradford, weei.com. Baseball isn't boring. And a great example of baseball not being boring, Keefe.
It has not been boring. They're not very good, but the game itself, the beautiful game.
Beautiful game.
Scuba last night.
It's like a soap opera.
Sail tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, sail crochet.
First time, if it's sail, right? That's not
I think
locked
he's still
in
penciled
yet.
in.
But
yeah, I think it's locked in.
it would be the first time in baseball history a team has faced the reigning Cy Young winners in back-to-back games. How about that for baseball?
What a nugget.
How about that?
Holy mackerel.
Wow, look at that. Look at you. Look at you.
That's a good stat.
How come I never get to do the random baseball player of the day?
I'm sorry. I haven't decided yet.
Oh, you haven't?
I
can give you a few
It's
of
Shea Hillenbrand.
on the Shea Hillenbrand.
BK Kim.
So, by the way, and also tomorrow, they may be wearing different uniforms, too.
Oh, they're wearing the green ones?
I mean,
The new ones?
yeah.
Those things are sweet. You like those? The new
Yeah,
City
I
Connects?
actually do like them.
They haven't officially released them, but they got leaked a while ago.
Yeah.
Are they gonna
I can
post
break-
those?
Yeah.
Breaking news.
That is
Yeah,
breaking
I
news.
think that tomorrow afternoon you'll see them, but yeah, I like them. I like the city.
Yes.
The City Connects. I think some teams try really too hard, like the Colorado Rockies Taco Bell outfits. Not great.
What do you think of the Diamondbacks ones?
Yeah, the Snakes ones. Those are
It's
big.
okay.
Yeah.
I actually like, and I had the guy on the podcast from the White Sox. I like theirs. The Jordan, like the homage.
Oh, the
to
Bulls ones. The old Bulls
Yeah,
ones
I
are
like
pretty good.
those.
Well,
Yeah.
look, where are the uniform shows? So this makes
That's
sense
right.
that we would break news on this.
We
Brad
should
Fo-
unveil them here. We should talk to the Sox. see
We
if
really
can
should.
unveil them here.
We really should.
Yeah.
So new, different uniforms tomorrow. You
That's
think?
a scuttlebutt.
That's good scuttlebutt.
Good, excellent scuttlebutt.
Yeah.
What a day.
That's why we have you in, Brad
Seriously.
Fo.
Oh, thank you.
You can check them out, weei.com. Baseball isn't boring podcast as well. Brad Fo, we'll talk to you next week. Thanks so much.
All right, sounds great.
All right, Jones and Keefe brought to you here on WEEI by Jackson Lumber and Millwork. Visit Jackson Lumber and Millwork for all your residential, remodeling, or commercial building materials and supplies. Jackson Lumber and Millwork, providing solutions and delivering results since 1946.